There is so much evidence in nature on this idea of temperance. That nature, the author writes, nature learns to live within certain limits, not as a punishment, but as a life-giving, life-sustaining mechanism. As a life-sustaining, life-giving mechanism. And yet we, as human beings, many of us tend to resist against and struggle against any sort of limits whatsoever. How many of us struggle against something as simple as the speed limit? Well, it doesn't really mean 65, because everybody else is going 70, so it really means 70. I know somebody was sharing with me on their way into church this morning. They left late, and they wound up going quite fast. And they noticed a police car, noticing how fast they were going. Clocked them at 90. The person arrived here safely, and the officer decided to let them be. I think that's consciousness. The author says, we hate to be confined, whether by city limits or credit limits or speed limits. Growth for us means more. Rather than moderate our desires, we force them or we form them into needs. This line I thought was very insightful. The luxuries of one generation become the necessities of the next. Isn't that powerful? The luxuries of one generation become the necessities of the next. If you ever feel like you're just on this rat cage of a cycle, maybe it is because we allowed ourselves innocently, unknowingly, to get caught up in something that doesn't necessarily add meaning and joy to our lives, but can actually drive us quite crazy, as well as causing harm to the very world that we live in. How many of us think that our relationships might be more beautiful and loving if we weren't always so busy, so that we could give them more time and attention, right? Well, how much of our time and effort and energy maybe is going into feeding that trance that some say we're under, that more is always better, or more is going to make us happier. Maybe this whole very spiritual concept of simplicity is what it's really all about. How can I simplify my life? Organize my life more around the things that really matter. That's an exercise in moderation and temperance, is it not? Absolutely. So that what is freed up in terms of time or energy or resources can be devoted to the things that really make a difference.